Hello, Joshua. I see you on CrossTech Spider on YouTube Live. It is so wonderful, friends, to be here with you. Happy Wednesday. You know what's special about Wednesday? I mean, aside from, it started with a tweet chat on Twitter if you missed that. But of course, Wednesdays are all special because that's when In the Loop is here with you. And today is a big day. I'm here with my co-host, Greg Nibbler. And of course, I am here to keep you on top of all things business, finance. But we're just happy and grateful to have you here with us. As you know, what makes today really, really special is that you are part of the show. And so we love to see your engagement. Don't be shy. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know your name. Let us know, if it's warm, if it's cold, how your week is going, because we love to hear from you. For those of you who are new to the show, welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. And I'm Winnie Sun, longtime financial pro, CNBC council member, Forbes contributor, and host of Level Up. And so we are excited to be here with you. But most importantly, Greg, I'm excited that you're here, and it's a great week, right?
It is. It's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's always so much fun being here with everybody. Like you said, this is an interactive show. We want to see your comments. Love seeing everybody join in. And whether you're watching live or watching afterward, drop those comments on. I'm Greg Nibbler, longtime tech reporter covering all kinds of tech. And coming up here on the show, I'm going to talk about a couple of things that you can kind of take advantage of right now, or that may be changing with some things that you do. But also there's a big topic about the way we travel might be changing. Going through an airport may be a different experience if this experiment works out. So we're going to talk all about that. But like we said, drop in your comments. Let us know what you want to talk about as we go through the show. And it's just great to be here. Let's have some fun. That's what this show's all about, learning about things and having a good time and having discussions. And Winnie always starts us off with everything going on in the world of finances, which I know sometimes can be not as fun as we may want, but it's always good to know about it, and always appreciate everything that you bring here with that.
Oh, thank you, Greg. That's so kind of you. And I think I know what you're going to talk to us about in terms of Delta. So I'm super excited. I think it actually trickled into financial news. And I'm really excited to see what you think about this, Greg. So, and I think I'm going to be able to jump in about whether I think it's worth it or not. But let's talk about how the market closed, because today was a good day. And we got to take the good days when we can get them. So positive day across the board. Dow closed up 436 big ones, and the Nasdaq closed up 469 points, and the S&P 500 up 102. Now you might notice I was kind of excited that the Nasdaq goes up so much, and that's because the Nasdaq is traditionally very tech heavy and science and whatnot heavy, and that's, as we know, what are very popular sectors that a lot of investors are investing in. Now, why did the market do so well? Not complete surprise, but sort of a surprise, and we'll certainly take it because it's good news. Well, the Fed came out and announced their much anticipated increase to the Fed rate. They gave us 0.75% increase in the Fed rate, which you might think how's that good news? That means borrowing costs cost more. But actually, it's great news because we were very concerned about more and more talks about the recession. And in fact, some people were even saying that there was a potential the Fed could increase rates by a whole 1%, which certainly would mean we're even closer to a recession. But as you know, yesterday I shared this too, is because our job market has actually been pretty steady here in the United States. In fact, creating an average of over 400,000 jobs per month here. So there's been some really good news overall. And Fed Chairman Jerome Powell didn't just end at increasing interest rates. He also said, look I've got some potentially good news. Now, we probably will be increasing rates once again when we meet in September. It's probably to be expected. However, he also said that, we actually see the potential for decreasing the amount of how much we would increase interest rates. which is sort of positive, saying that things actually could get a little bit better sooner. And so we will be mindful of that, and we will be on top of that, and we'll adjust if situations get better. He also mentioned that yes, it is in fact, we do know that we're in earnings season right now, and some companies have reported somewhat disappointing earnings, including companies like Walmart. And yesterday we talked about Chipotle. We talked about several companies, including Microsoft, with somewhat disappointing earnings. But he actually said that's not necessarily a bad thing. A little bit of disappointing earnings could actually give us a slack that we need in order to stay away from being in a total recession. So investors certainly saw this as a positive across the board. And so you're seeing a lot of optimism going back into the financial markets. And he also said that we might actually avoid a true recession here, which I don't know about you. I mean, I feel like yesterday, today, not much has changed, but certainly feels a lot better when someone tells you that, we might not be going into a recession. And I think we'll take the positive news where we can get them. But let's not completely discount what did occur today, and that is that rates went up 0.75%. So let me tell you about 5 things that are going to immediately get a lot more expensive, or at least a little bit more expensive, just so that you have this on your radar. Number one, if you're looking to buy a car, your car loan has just gone up in price. And credit cards, if you have credit card debt, well, your payments are probably going to get higher because now your credit card interest probably just went higher as well. Also, if you're looking to buy a house or you have an adjustable rate mortgage, if you're looking to get a new mortgage, unfortunately, your mortgage probably just went up today as well. Also, private student loans, a lot of them, their interest rates, many of them might have gone up as well. Or if you're getting a new one, that might have gone up. And other variable rate loans, these are things such as your home equity line of credit loan that probably went up as well. So those are my top 5 of things that probably went a little bit more expensive. Hopefully you don't own too many of the top 5, and that way this won't have that much impact on you. But let's talk about some of the other companies, because sometimes we think like, well, we're struggling. Inflation costs, certainly we're paying much more in groceries and gas is getting more expensive. But what about the big guys, right? What about the ultra wealthy or the ultra successful companies? What about them? Well, I can tell you 2 companies reported earnings today, and unfortunately, numbers weren't quite as good as they were hoping. As you remember, yesterday, Google or Alphabet reported sort of disappointing earnings. We also saw that with Microsoft yesterday, so 2 big ones. We're waiting for Apple pretty soon, but hopefully Apple does well. We'll see. But Meta, which as you know is Facebook, did report today, and unfortunately, disappointing earnings from them as well. $2.46 a share in terms of earnings versus the $2.59, which was expected. Also, this is a big one. The daily active users dropped as well. So they were expecting about 2 billion in users, and it dropped about 1.96. So that's something that happened as well. Now, another company that also reported somewhat disappointing earnings, and I really want to get Greg's take on this, is Google. In fact, Google is talking about also how they're going to be delaying what they call cookie cutting. They're going to delay cookie cutting until 2024. But they also said because advertisements haven't been as stellar, so that's certainly impacted their earnings. But also they're delaying this I guess new cookie cutting thingamajigger thing. So Greg, you want to explain this to me? What is this cookie cutting thing of Google?
Well, I can explain it a little bit. So it's the idea of, using cookies to track what sites you go to and how that's, when you go to a website on a browser, there's a cookie that's placed in your browser that says you were there and where you're going to, and it gives them information. And that's what they use to sell their advertising on. So I'm not well versed in the advertising side of things, but that's going to drastically change things when it does happen, especially for the advertisers and people who sell Google Ads and how they go about that. So that is a big deal that they're delaying it. I think that shows that, like you mentioned, the finances are not as stellar as they would like. So they want to hold off making any of these drastic changes. So that's probably a smart move. But I imagine people in the advertising world are a little bit, I don't know if they're happy that this is getting delayed or if they were already preparing for this and now they got to put all their other plans on hold for a while, still do things the way that they have been. So I'm sure there's going to be some ramifications to that or some fallout to that one way or another, good or bad.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I think that's a big sign. If Google's willing to hold off on something as major as that, that's going to be a big deal. I see some comments coming in there too. Oh yeah, Vicky says TikTok will be the next search engine. Yeah, TikTok. Yeah, YouTube is honestly, YouTube might be one of the biggest search engines. It might be the biggest. I can't
I
even
think it
remember
is the
exactly.
biggest.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
think so. Yeah, as far as searching.
Mhm.
So we'll have to see how that all shakes out. But I think it's definitely a sign of what's going on with Google and Microsoft. Neither of them, coming in as good as they expected,
Mhm.
and just kind of holding off on some of these major changes. So,
Well,
we'll see what else that does.
yeah, Greg, I'm so glad you shared this. That makes perfect sense. I mean, I think what we're seeing today is, Google is certainly, talking about the reduction of advertisers. We heard that yesterday as well from Microsoft, having some difficulty in their cloud services, but also Meta, right? Facebook is also
Yeah.
saying less users, less people spending money on advertising. We know we already saw that out of Twitter and I think TikTok as well. So, oh yeah, actually, in fact, Google did announce that yesterday that YouTube advertisers were also down significantly too. So it makes sense, right? The economy is weaker. We are feeling the pressure of inflation, and therefore consumers are spending less. And so brands are saying, hey, let's not be so aggressive in our advertising dollars, which is interesting because if that's the case, and there's maybe less brands competing for advertising space, if you're a brand that has the capital to be able to advertise, this actually might give you more eyeball for your money. One other area that, sort of my last sort of share for today is this, I know you're going to be talking about travel very soon, Greg, but this, is on the financial side on Spirit Airlines. So you may have heard Spirit Airlines. For those of you who have flown Spirit Airlines, sometimes my travel friends will say like, "Have you flown Spirit Airlines?" I'll say, "I'm sorry if you had to," but Spirit Airlines is sort of that discount airline, and I guess they've been having some financial issues, and so they've been talking about sort of creating a combination with Frontier Airlines, which is also very much a budget airline, but that isn't going to take place, it seems, because today it was announced that they were going to vote on this, but it looks like it's not going to happen now. And in fact, JetBlue has made an all cash offer to purchase or take over Spirit Airlines, which I'm kind of excited about because I really, really like the JetBlue franchise. I feel like they do budget right. Their pricing is reasonable, but also they give you a great flying experience. And so JetBlue has made an all cash offer for Spirit Airlines. Now, if that combination comes to fruition, this will actually make JetBlue then, I guess, the fifth largest airline here, I think, in the United States. So that's kind of exciting to see. We'll see how that take place. I'm always for like airlines or travel experiences that do a great job and make that travel experience really good. That I like to see them being successful, and I think Curtis and my team is probably like grinning right now too because I know he likes to fly JetBlue as well. And Vicky, it is so great to see you. We missed you yesterday. And by the way, Vicky, I want to tell you, I shared a little bit of news on the show yesterday just for you, and you weren't here. So I'm glad that you're here today. But Greg, so you want to take it over? I want to hear what do we got for tech this week?
Okay, so we have a few things. One, that's really interesting that JetBlue is taking over this. So I think that's great too. I also like JetBlue Airlines. It's a good experience. But let's talk about some tech stuff. So the first thing I wanted to bring up is kind of has to do with what's going on, at least for me locally, which is a heat wave, which seems kind of like an odd thing to bring up in tech. But here in Oregon, where I'm at, we have a excessive heat warning for like the next 5 days. It's like I think it's 98 or something. So if you see me sweating, that's why. My house isn't built for 98-degree weather, so if I sweat, forgive me. But it's bound to happen. But one of the things that the government is doing is they put out a website called heat.gov. And this is a newer site. And what it's designed to is actually help people start to understand this as we have more and more things like this happen. I know the rest of the country had the excessive heat waves over the last couple of weeks. It's now come to the Pacific Northwest. But it's kind of looking at ways that you can help, mitigate some of the issues that could come from that, some of the health issues, especially how you can maybe more economically cool your home, like lots of information and details on there. And I feel like it's a good thing to just be aware of for everyone, because regardless of where you live, you're probably going to experience it. I think Vicky's over in the UK. I know they just had a really bad one where it even shut down airports I was seeing because the runways were melting. So
Oh my God.
yeah, crazy stuff. So it's one of those things that's just kind of a reality that we have to start looking at. So I want to make sure people knew about that. There's tons of info on there about how to plan, prepare, what you can do, local news, all kinds of things as far as what you can do to be prepared for that. So that's really all there is to that. But I thought that was kind of a cool thing to just make people aware of as we're going through this, especially if, for people who may not have the ability to get somewhere to get out of the heat, or what you can do. Number one, drink lots of water. Always drink lots of water. I have not drank enough water today, so I'm reminding myself of that. But yeah, it's just a good site to be aware of. So wanted to put that out there so everybody knew about that.
Thank you. I had no idea about it. Then thank you, Greg.
Yeah, I just found out about that today, actually. So somebody else had shared that. So thank you, whoever that was on Twitter that posted that, because now I got to know about it. So let's go on to some tech stuff. So you mentioned Google and Alphabet talking about the earnings, but there's also some other things coming from Google, some changes that are happening, and some updates to some things if you use some of these products. So Google Maps is now going to be having some changes that are happening, and I think they're cool. Some of them are more useful, some of them are more interesting. The first one is this: you're going to start adding on to certain landmarks in cities. You're going to get these things called flybys, to where you're going to be able to essentially take a look at a big monument. And they've added this into, with their regular maps. It's kind of like a satellite view, but then an animated view, a 3D view, everything going in. And this is all part of Street View. So if you go to some place and you want to get a better idea of what the monument is, what the area is around the monument, it just gives you kind of a cool way to look at it. And they're adding that in. There's not a ton of them yet, but some of these big places where you go, it's kind of just a different way to experience it, and a different way maybe if you're going to be traveling there for tourism reasons, you can just get a better feel of what's going on. So I always like additions like that.
But Greg, let me ask you this. So do you have to be near the location? Like, for example, here I'm in Southern California. If I want to look at Big Ben, right, can I do that now? Or do I have to be within a certain area of this?
No, I think you can go look at it wherever you are. So if you ever just have fun, I do this frequently where I'll just go on maps and be like, I want to look at Zimbabwe right now, and just check out some city in Zimbabwe for some reason. I don't know why I'm picking Zimbabwe, but wherever it may be, I kind of enjoy that. If I can't go somewhere, I want to see what's going on. You should still be able to do that with these flybys. So that's going to be rolling out here pretty soon. And they have a list of the different places that they're going to be doing. And, naturally there'll be more and more added on there, but that's one of the changes. Now, another change that I'm really excited about, because I ride a bicycle. I'm here in Portland. We've got a lot of great bike lanes and roads. It's a good for, for commuting and just for exercise and fun. They're updating some of their cycling maps, and I really appreciate these updates. So right now, if you're in an area where there's a lot of cycling, you can always type that in as your option, put cycling there, and they'll give you, a couple of different routes that you can choose. But they're going to be adding in a lot more detail on those routes, like if there's a giant hill on that route that you should be aware of, if there's a lot of traffic, if it's going to take you someplace where there's typically a lot of cars, or if you're going off on a bike lane exclusive, you're going to get a lot more details. And I think that is great for, because I can't tell you how many times I've gone on a ride, I want to go check out some part of the city, and then I get over there and then there's a gigantic mountain that you have to go up in the middle of your route. If you're not wanting to do that, sometimes that can be a bit of a pain. And now you'll get to know a little more about what's on your actual route, get some more of the topography and all that detail. So that's pretty cool. And there's going to be more updates coming with that as well. So that
is really cool. And I think that makes use a little safer too for riders, for sure.
Yep. Makes it safer and probably a better experience depending on what you're looking for if you're riding your bike. Yeah, I'm probably going to go for a bike ride even though it's hot later, but I don't need to go up a giant hill in 98-degree weather. So
I didn't even know Oregon got that hot, to be honest with you. I mean, I always think your weather is going to be cooler than our weather, but that's a lot harder than where we are right now.
Yeah, it is a heat wave that's going through, but we're getting it more and more. I mean, last year we got that one that was insane. It was 116 degrees for 3 days. That's really weird. This is, for having it this long is not what it used to be, but it's kind of how it is now. We get with these heat waves that come through. So, but yeah, the bicycling update, pretty cool update there. And then the other one they're going to have is better ways to share your location. One of the examples they gave is somebody who goes on a hike and they can share like, hey, I'm going into this hike now. And then if they pick a specific person, they can get a ping when that person's back out at, like, say, the trailhead, which maybe not everywhere that's going to be a big deal, but around here that is, because that's what a lot of people do is you go hiking. And, if you are, something happens and you don't show back up where you're supposed to be, somebody would know, and that way they can send help if, say, something had happened. Or, you're going to a concert and you want to let people get a better idea of tracking you. It's not that you can't do some of that now, but it's just some improvements to that are going to be coming on. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of use cases that'll be pretty good for that if you want to share your location with people. So those are just some of the updates that are coming to Google Maps that they've been highlighting here this week. So yeah, there's that. There's also changes to Gmail, all kinds of things Google oriented. But getting out of the Google side of things, let's get some other cool things. So there is this topic, which I've been kind of covering this week on a couple of different outlets, because I think it's really, really cool what they're doing. And specifically, I think, Winnie, you being in Southern California with all of your beaches, you might find this interesting too. And this is actually happening in Spain. And it's from a story that came out, I believe it was last week, about Spanish beach. And there was a 14-year-old kid who swam too far out and got into trouble. And so they have lifeguards, there, but this kid was so far out, it was difficult for them to get to him right away, to where the potential for drowning was there. But in Spain, across, I believe it's 20 some different beaches, they have 30 of these lifeguard drones. So it's from a company called General Drones. And it was a couple of lifeguards who actually created this company because they had noticed, they want to get to somebody as quick as possible, but even with jet skis, if somebody's out far, maybe they don't get there in time. So they created this drone that can fly, with all the different obstacles they have as far as sand and seawater and salt and wind and all of that. And the drone, this drone, actually, have a pilot that flew out there, and it's able to drop down via a cable a life vest for this kid. And this kid was able to get on that life vest because they couldn't get there quick enough, and probably saved his life with this life vest.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's just such a great use case of technology, to help save lives, really. And I just think it's really cool what they're doing with that.
That's amazing.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And so you could see there, even on the timer, like how quick they were able to get out. They knew they was in trouble. They've got these pilots that can specifically fly them there. And then, and then the rescuers were able to get out there as well to fully save them. But they gave them.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't that neat?
Yeah, that is so cool. Thank you that's a great use of tech. We got to give an applause for that.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Great job on their part. So that's, that's their whole thing. They want to have this all these.
We had to do it.
I forgot we have now. Yes. So yeah, that company though, pretty neat what they're doing. So General Drones, and I could see that becoming something that's used in a lot more places too, because there's also a lifeguard shortage, that's going on. There's not enough. Yeah, and I'm sure for you probably experience this a lot more than I do, as far as going to beaches and with everybody out there.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, like a lot of our local beaches here, the lifeguards go out, they leave like at 6 p.m. when it's still really nice out. And so a lot of times they'll say, especially those of us with kids, make sure to keep your kids close by. But let's be honest, right? There's going to be people who get in the water, and you're right. And that those like few seconds or minutes can make the difference of life and death. And wow, how incredible. What a great use of technology. I'm excited to see that. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I would like to see that, happen more and more. So again, anytime that tech is used for something good like that, I just think it's really, really exciting and cool. So General Drones, you can check out, they've got some great videos online too. And you can check out a lot of their stuff. All right. So the final thing I've got here for something that's trending, this, I know, we all love to travel. And this is talking about the airport experience and how it could be different. And this is something that Delta is trying out. Right now, it's only at the Detroit airport. So that's the only place that is being tested right now. But they're calling it parallel reality. So here's how this works. You know how when you go through an airport, you look at the big giant screens with all of the flights, and you want to try to find your flight, and everybody's always looking at those things. This would change this to where they're very personalized specifically for you, but using those same screens that everybody's looking at. So this is kind of weird. So and you have to opt in to use this. So it's not something that, that's just going to happen for you. But if you opt in, you scan in your flight info, and you go to one of their kiosks, and it'll do a quick scan of you to identify who you are. They're real specific about saying they're not storing any facial recognition stuff. They're not storing any of that data, but they're using it while you're there for part of this experience. So they know your shape, they know who you are, they know what you look like. So when you go up, once you do that, you go up to one of those giant screens. And when you personally look at it, you'll see a completely customized image on the same screen that everybody's looking at that no one else can see except for you. And the way they're doing this is these displays can aim light specifically at individual people. So the image you're getting, no one else is getting that image. And you'll have, you could have 20 people all staring at a screen, and each one of them is seeing something different, all personalized to you. And they're saying that, this could help out for a lot of different ways and provide a better experience. It's a strange kind of technology to kind of wrap your head around, but this is what they're trying out there. I'm really curious to know your thoughts on this, Winnie.
Well, I kind of love the customization, right? And I know,
Yeah.
Greg, I know you travel a lot. I travel a lot. You're looking at the screen. You're like, you have to go through all these different filters in your head to try to find your specific flight. And how cool would that be if you look on the screen and you see your flight, I see my flight, and it's like, but it's the same screen. I think that's certainly hopeful. I think the customization is great. One thing I was hoping they would have done even before this is this, going through TSA now, and especially with continuous virus, like you have to take your mask off for it. I would love for them to do the scan thing so that they could scan our retina or our form or something else, so we don't have to unmask. I think that's another thing they should build in this thing. I'm just putting out there, but I do love the whole customization. And let's say you're going down in an elevator, you're going down one of those walking things, right? And it's telling you whether you're going in the right direction. Because let's be honest, new airport, sometimes you get lost. So yeah, I think this has a lot of use capabilities.
Yeah. It's very, very futuristic. It reminds me, I go to this one sometimes, but Minority Report kind of, where you're getting these personalized ads and things like that. And there's a lot of that's going on too on the commercial side of things, where they want to be able to either use your phone as kind of an identifier to give you a personalized experience. But this, using those same screens, but each person sees a different thing, is kind of wild. So I'm not going to Detroit anytime soon, but if I do go, I kind of want to take a Delta flight just to try this out and get that experience. Hey, Delta, fly me out. But yeah, it's pretty cool. So I think they want to try it out and see what people think about it. If everybody's into it or not. The big concern that everybody always has is somebody scanning you and putting your information in there. And they're very much on their site. They go into a much more in-depth description saying they're not storing any of that info, but it gives their system a shape to look at. It knows it's you to give you that personalized experience. So,
that's cool. One of my best friends is a big travel person, and he's based out of Detroit. So I feel like I might have to put him on this assignment so he can capture some footage for us to examine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I certainly would if I were in Detroit. I would absolutely take one of those flights just to try it out. There's kind of some more examples. Yeah, people taking a look at this and getting that personalized experience in there. But yeah, pretty cool. So that's cool. Parallel reality is what they're calling it. It's an interesting name too. But yeah, kind of changing up that experience. So yeah, curious to see what people think. Vicky says, scan your eye, personal data and information. Yeah, I know that there's been some experiences or some places trying out, the retinal scans as well. There's also the palm scan, which is another way, probably not the best for COVID, to put your hand on everything. But there's, different ways that they can identify you just through your palm or through your blood vessels. So I think we'll see a lot of these different things happen. But anytime tech's being used to change up the experience and personalize it, I want to know about it, whether I like it or not. I want to know about it. So.
we want you to know about it too, because when you know about it, you share with us, Greg. So we love hearing about it. So very cool. And I see Sadiq is here with us, so Sadiq probably enjoy that too. Yeah,
para-reality. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, it's kind of cool just to see where it's going with this. So I'm excited to see the results and what the feedback is, if people actually enjoy it or not. But yeah. changing up that. So wanted to share that with everybody. And, you know, there's just kind of things like that I've been finding. There hasn't been a lot of huge tech updates. There's a bunch coming up though. There's some Samsung announcements. I think we're going to get some new phones here within the next week and a half, I think is when the presentation is. So there's a lot of cool new tech products coming up. Apple's just over the horizon. So we're starting to gear up into new product releases. But right now I love looking at these experimental things and just seeing what could be, what people are trying out. And that's why I always love when people send me that stuff too. So please feel free to send anytime. Send me a message. You see something cool or crazy new tech or something you find interesting, message me by all means, or tag me and let me know about it. I always love hearing about it because there's just so many cool things going on. It's, you know, one person can't keep track of all of them. So I love people helping out with that.
Yes, and I know Sadiq's been really great at helping you, Greg, for that. But yeah, this stuff is interesting. It's great to see what's coming in the future and what we can get excited about. It gives us hope too, with all the stuff that we're hearing in the news. So really exciting.
Yeah.
I think the next week there's gonna be more things, but I'm really looking forward to seeing, like you said, the new tech developments. And I don't know, for those of you who are watching, you know, this is an ongoing thing that we're gonna kind of keep asking Greg about. Will Greg go Apple this year? Will he be an iPhone adopter? You know, curious minds want to know, and we will keep paying attention. We'll keep asking him until that day.
There's lots of rumors about the new iPhone that's going to be coming out in September that I'm kind of liking, but so far, no. So far, not yet. Well, I'm going to wait till September, and I'll decide. Then I'll decide.
Sounds good. Well, we'll look forward to seeing what your take on it is. And with that, I guess, thank you everybody for tuning in and being here with us. We always love spending the week with you. And of course, we'll be back next week. But thank you so much, Greg. Super interesting. I love the travel information there as well. But stay cool, Greg. 90 degrees. Hopefully that comes down for you. But at least now we know to go to heat.gov. You can see where the inspiration for that came from.
Exactly. My sweaty face is the inspiration for that. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for everything. And like Winnie said, we'll talk to you next week.
Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye.